Hi, my name is Midori, and today I'll be talking about pollinators and climate change. We know that burning fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and this incubates the Earth. We also know that this causes increased global temperatures, more extreme weather events, and changing climate conditions, as well as altered biome distribution. Human development creates fragmented habitats that limit plant biodiversity and cause transportation stress over distances for pollinators. Deforestation is contributing to habitat loss, and this also exacerbates the effects of climate change by removing carbon stores. You might be wondering, why is this important for pollinators? Pollinators include bees, butterflies, moths, beetles, some flies, bats, and hummingbirds. It's important because about 1,000 plants are something that we rely on for food and products, and we need them to be pollinated by insects or animals. Additionally, around 75% of the plants in our yards depends on insects and animals for pollination. Human activities are causing pollinator numbers to decline. These include putting pesticides on crops, which kills pollinators themselves, or using herbicides, which kills the plants that pollinators need to feed on. And habitat fragmentation also is ruining their habitats, making it harder for them to find food and for them to travel shorter distances. So pollinators are struggling to adapt to the combined threats of these human activities, as well as a rapidly changing climate. So pollinators are affected, but one of the most affected groups is bees. Bees are at risk of colony collapse disorder, or CCD. Causes of CCD include exposure to pesticides, pathogens, nutritional deficiencies, lack of variation in their diets, low genetic diversity in their gene pool, habitat loss, and transportation stress. So climate change is affecting plant growth. As a result, flowers are blooming half a day earlier each year. This means that plants are blooming a month earlier than 45 years ago. Bees haven't been able to evolve quickly enough to deal with this mismatch in time. And so plants aren't getting pollinated as much, and bees are going hungry. Just to put into context how important this is, bees add more than $15 billion in value to US crops each year through their pollination services. Another affected group is butterflies. They depend on environmental cues like temperature to trigger reproduction, migration, and hibernation. Their life cycles are affected by the changing climate because we're seeing increased frequency of extreme weather events and extremes in temperature differences. So monarchs in particular depend on milkweed as a host plant, and this plant is actually declining in abundance throughout their range. In addition, their overwinter habitat is declining due to deforestation. So if they don't have a warm overwinter habitat and their temperature is too low, they end up using up their fat reserves, and that's taking too much of their energy. Hummingbirds are also affected. In North America, there are 4 species that are at risk of becoming endangered as a result of rising temperatures. These species are abandoning their native areas to find more stable environments that are cooler in temperature. This is important because hummingbirds need to constantly feed on nectar since they have such a high metabolism. Intense heat is forcing them to sacrifice finding food and find shade instead, which makes them vulnerable to starvation. I didn't have any pictures of hummingbirds, but here is a plant that's a really good example of the types of flowers that they pollinate. So how can you help? You can help by planting native plants, making pollinator-friendly areas around your house or in your yard, having hummingbird feeders, and also not using pesticides or herbicides. Thanks for watching.